Salute, man. Boxing Nocturnal Thoughts, man. Trying to get my games back, man. I got to start fresh in 2023. But, one step at a time, man. It's a grind. You know what I'm saying? Right now, man, I'm looking flabby and sick like Larry Holmes. You know what I'm saying? But I was listening to, I was working out today. You know what I'm saying? Getting a little pre-pump for this year start. And I was listening to a little interview with BOOZY, ENNIS, Jerron Boots Ennis Pops. And he was just doing his assessment on the Bud Crawford versus David Amnesia. I feel like he gave him his credit and everything. But he said, Terrence Bud Crawford looked like he got off to a slow start. And he compared the fight like what he thought it would be different if he was in there fighting Spence. But I'm looking and listening, and I'm thinking, this man ain't really thinking about Bud versus Spence in his mind. When he watching Bud fight, or he watching Spence fight, or he watching Yordenis Ugas fight, or if he watching any other welterweight, or he's not thinking about Spence or Crawford versus each other. He's thinking about his son and what his son would look like in the ring. Because based off his response to what he was saying, as far as what Terrence will be dealing with differently, it just sounded like to me he was really talking about how he trains his son to fight. Like how we gonna get in there and get things done earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like he said he felt like he could have got off earlier to a better start with anesthesian. So, Avanasian. I'm thinking like, I've seen Boots in 3 performances of recent, Delorme, Lipinets, and Clayton. And we're going to see him again in this, as a guy out, he's fighting Kareem. So we haven't seen him in there with the toughest competition. But at this point, we've seen and heard so much about Jerron Boots Ennis. And just looking at him, the way he fights and the way he prepares and the way he trains, and the way people who see him in live and in person train, and just using my own boxing eye and see what he brings to the table at his young age, how dangerous he is, how he has all the tools you can imagine. He just don't really have the time and experience. But as far as the power, the speed, the athleticism, the ability to be orthodox to southpaw, his timing, his reflexes, his defense, his youth, his size, his pedigree, his punch selection, his combinations, his the velocity that he gets on his punches, the leverage that he gets on his punches. And if I was BOOZY Ennis and I'm his pops, and I know what I could do when I was young, and I know what my other sons can do, and I can see what this son is doing, and I pictured him in there, but it was to take out Avanesian and put in Boots. Because even if you was to take Errol Spence, take out Yordenis Ugas or Danny Garcia and put in Boots, he's the way BOOZY Ennis is thinking, like what my son would do. I think that Boots would have gave Errol Spence a harder fight than Yordenis Ugas. I think his body would have held up better. His eye would have held up better. He's young. And of course, when you're talking about Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford, you're talking about experience. So it is possibilities that Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence would be able to use their experience as a factor to defeat Jerron Boots Ennis. And I think Errol Spence, to me, in my opinion, in the battle of attrition, using a little bit of experience in his style, might have been able to beat Boots that same night he beat Yordenis Ugas. I'm not 100% sure on that, kind of 50-50 on that. But I'm pretty sure Errol Spence would beat Boots in that scenario. But in the scenario with Terrence Bud Crawford, and this is no disrespect, this is my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, man, where you at? Subscribe to the channel, man. Subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? I got to remind you, salute you, and subscribe to the channel. But if you take that Bud Crawford performance, and you take out David Evanesian, and a Vicinian, however you say his name, no disrespect. I just hear his name. Every time I hear somebody say his name, they say it differently. I have no idea how to say this man's last name. I'm going to say Evanesian. Sounds the best. You know what I'm saying? But if you take him out, and you put in Boots, that's a whole different fight. You know what I'm saying? And BOOZY ENNIS, I think he's looking at that, and he's like, I mean, it's all about timing. He's old school, so he know. It's all about timing. It's all about timing. His son is like just too young. He's too young and too dangerous. High risk and low reward. And I think he's just looking at his son like, damn, if you was in there instead of David Evanesian, I'm telling you, it would have been different. That's my thoughts, y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Wow, I'm gone. Salute.